What is up, YouTubers, gamers, and hobbyists, and welcome to this second episode of the Alien RPG breakdown. Now we are on the section 2, which details your character, and it starts off with a quote from one of the later movies. Might have been Prometheus, I'm not sure. The one with David 8. Anyway, he's obviously the synthetic android who's asking Dr. Charlie Holloway. He says, "Why do you think your people made me?" He says, "We made you because we could." So he says, "Can you imagine how disappointing it would be for you to hear the same thing from your creator?" And that's quite good because and the movies are littered with things like that, little thinking points to kind of make you stop and think, I wonder what else they're actually trying to touch upon here, which is good. But that just adds to the flavour and the depth of this game. So as you turn over, it tells you about your character sheet, which you can download for free, obviously. Do you remember the old days when character sheets you had to buy them, before the days of the internet? Yeah, you had to buy them or photocopy them off of someone. we just used to write them out, but anyway. Your player character PC is your most important asset in the Alien role-playing game. They are your avatar on an alien world. They are your eyes and ears out there in the deepest dark of space. You munch on popcorn with friends and roll dice while they take all the risks. There is an unwritten binding agreement between you two. And like any corporate contract, there is a catch. You live vicariously through them. And they, in return, depend on you to keep them alive. Don't screw it up. Take your PC seriously. So it's making you say, look, this is a game. The character represents you in the game, and so it's all good. Talks about cinematic playing, campaign play here. So main differences here for characters and cinematic scenarios such as the Hope's Last Day, which is included in the rulebook. The player characters are already provided for you and the other players. All you need to do is decide amongst yourselves who plays which character. There are usually more characters available than a number of players. The remaining characters become NPCs run by the GM. If you can't agree on who to play, roll dice for it. And of course, campaign play. For campaign play, you create the player character yourself. And this chapter explains the process in detail. During the course of a campaign, your PC changes and develops. Your skills and talents can be developed through experience, but you can also discover how your PC's personality changes and grows in a way that cannot be measured by numbers on a page. This is when your character truly comes alive. Campaign frameworks. Before creating your characters, you should decide together as a group on a campaign framework, i.e. which type of people you will be playing. 3 suggested campaign frameworks are described on page 16, and GM tools for playing each of them are included in chapter 12. So if you're going to do a campaign at this stage, play as either space truckers, colonial marines, or frontier colonists. Core concepts. Well, how to create your player character. It's pretty easy. Choose your career, spend points on your attributes, then you spend points on your skills. Choose your career, talent, choose your name. Decide on your appearance, decide on your personal agenda, choose your buddy and rival, and pick your gear and signature item and roll for cash. And that's it. That is it. That is literally it. Career. So here, your first choice of your character is in a campaign play is your career. Your career choice determines your background and your role in the group. It influences your attributes, your skills, your starting gear, and what talents you have. There are 9 core careers to choose from, described on pages 38 to 55. So, choosing your career is kind of cool. Do you want to be a space trucker, colonial marine, or frontier colonist? Well, you can actually be you can have other careers, of course. What I was talking about there was the frameworks for which you base your campaign on. Of course, you can play a company man, operative, marshal. There's all sorts that you can, but you'll be playing on the frameworks of either space truckers, colonial marines, or frontier colonists. That's the campaign framework. So you choose your career, you choose your attributes, which is strength, agility, wits, and empathy. I think that's straightforward. And your character has 4 attributes that indicate your basic physical and mental capabilities, each rated on a scale from 1 to 5. Your attributes are used when you roll dice to perform actions in the game, and also to determine how much damage you can withstand before you become broken. That's detailed in chapter 5. But like I say, strength, agility, wits, empathy. So strength, raw muscle, power and brawn. Agility, body control, speed and motor skills. Wits, sensory perception, intelligence and sanity. Empathy, personal charisma, empathy and ability to manipulate others. Then you decide on your starting attributes. You have a total of 14 points, which you can distribute. So it says you may assign... Right, okay. When you create a player character for campaign play, you may distribute a total of 14 points across your attributes. You may assign no less than 2 and no more than 4 to any attribute. However, you may assign 5 points to the attribute listed as the key attribute for your career. Now, if you're playing an android, the rules are slightly different, because you can play as a synthetic in this, which is kind of cool, pretty nifty actually. So playing an android, androids are an important part of the Alien role-playing game, and you can play one as your player character. Androids are rare, however, and we recommend that you talk it through with the rest of the group before creating an android PC for a campaign game. Most androids look human. They can have any career and may be open about their nature or secretly pose as humans. Rules-wise, androids work a little differently from humans, so androids get a +3 bonus to 2 attributes of their choice after the 14 attribute points have been assigned. Androids can't push skill rolls, more on that later. Androids don't suffer from stress and thus don't have a stress level. For this reason, they don't need a signature item. Androids never make a panic roll, and androids suffer damage differently. So yeah, that will all be covered later. So, choose what you're going to be and who you're going to be. So skills, that's your knowledge and abilities you've acquired during your life, and you can always roll for a skill. You can always roll for a skill, even if you don't have any level in it. In that case, you only use the associated attribute for it, for the rule in question, plus any modifiers from relevant gear. So when you create your player character for campaign play, you may distribute a total of 10 points amongst your skills. You can assign up to 3 points to each of the skills listed for your character. You can assign a single point each to any other skills you choose. You can increase your skill levels during the game. Then you pick talents. Talents are tricks, moves, and minor abilities that give you a small edge. They are more specialised than skills and make your character unique. Talents are further explained in chapter 4, so obviously we'll come on to that later on. When creating a character for campaign play, you get 1 talent at the start of the game. Your career offers you 3 talents to choose from. You can learn more talents during the course of the game, at which point you will have many more talents to choose from. And then, after you've done that, it talks about stress, because stress plays a very important part in this game. So, life in space is lethal. More often than you'd like, you find yourself under extreme pressure in the game. This mounting tension is represented by your stress level. It usually starts at 0 and can increase by pushing dice rolls. So when you're trying to perform an action and you fail on it, you can kind of basically re-roll it by pushing yourself, but you gain a stress token, but it does give you an extra dice. So but it's stress dice, some more on that later. It's double-edged sword basically. Health. Even if you keep your nerves in check, chances are that sooner or later you're going to get hurt. This is tracked using your health score. You start the game with a number of health points equal to your strength score. Talents can modify your maximum health score. Suffering damage. When you suffer damage, your health score is reduced. This is further explained, blah blah blah. Name. Or in campaign play, you'll need to give your character a name. Each career has a list of 3 male and 3 female names that are typical for the archetype. So you just whatever you want, really. Describe your player, like the appearance. Describe your player's character's appearance in a few words. Your character gives you a few suggestions, but you are free to choose any appearance that you think fits your character. Personal agenda. Right, we're delving into some more subtle nuances to the game now. You might be a team, but each individual PC in your group also has an angle of their own, a personal agenda. How personal agendas work differs between cinematic and campaign play. Right, so in a cinematic world, PC's agendas are predetermined by the scenario, so you don't have a say in the matter. At the beginning of each of the 3 acts of the scenario, the GM gives up each PC a handout with a new agenda for the act. The agendas are hidden and you should not show them to other players or write them down on your character sheet. At the end of each act, the GM evaluates the actions of each PC. If you took any specific actions to further your agenda during the act, you are awarded 1 story point. More on that later. You can basically spend them. One way you could spend it is you can spend a story point to automatically re-roll fails or automatically succeed on a roll. I think it is something like that. Campaign agendas. In campaign play, you can pick one of the suggested personal agendas listed with your career, or you can come up with an agenda of your own at the end of each game session. Discuss the agendas of all PCs together. If you've taken some concrete action to further your agenda during the session, despite risk or cost, you gain a bonus experience point. Obviously, we'll cover all these other things later on. Buddies and rivals. Here's another subtle element to the game. The Alien role-playing game is about a small group of people facing unknown and horrifying dangers in the cold darkness of space. To survive, you need to find someone to trust, but also be careful who you turn your back to. In game terms, your PC can have 1 buddy and 1 rival amongst the other PCs. You can only have 1 of each. Your relationships are important for the GM, as she can use them to create interesting situations in the game. In campaign play, you can choose 1 PC to be your buddy and another to be your rival. In cinematic scenarios, the choice is made for you. For example, and it's got little examples dotted throughout the book here. It says here, example, Nat's personal agenda. Nat is a character that you create as with the book. Nat's personal agenda is downtime matters. If you can grab a can of Aspen beer and some time alone, you're happy. So that's a pretty simple example. Another example, the others in Nat's crew are the officers Charlize, the pilot Jeffries, the roughneck Torres, and the medic Hayes. Nat's buddy is Torres and her rival is Hayes. So that fleshes out that character a little bit, and all these little things add to it. We come now, as I sip my alien coffee, to gear. Right. So I won't go word for word for this, but basically you've got starting gear. You have a signature item, which is in addition to your normal gear, an item that's not of much practical use, but has a kind of a sentimental value to it. It says something about your character. Sometimes you have vehicles and spaceships, but yeah, it depends on the game and the setting, the scenario and so on. Encumbrance. You can carry a number of regular sized items equal to your strength rating. So it deals with encumbrance, and I won't bog you down with that. But suffice to say, it deals with encumbrance and consumable items such as air, food, that kind of thing. I suppose fuel for a gun, or an energy source for something. It's all fairly straightforward. I'll say that. Experience. Developing your character. One of the most rewarding things in campaign play is watching your character grow and develop. The harsh realities of life will change you. That's all you can be certain of in an uncertain world. You develop your character in several ways during the game. The things you learn during the game are measured in experience points. You receive XP at the end of each game session. Talk it through and let the whole group discuss what has happened. For each of the below questions that you reply yes to, you get 1 XP. This is how you get it. So, did you participate in the game session? Yes, you get 1 XP for being there. Did you risk or sacrifice something to further your personal agenda? Did you risk your life for your buddy PC? Did you change or stand up to your rival PC? Did you make a panic roll? Did you overcome a dangerous event using violent or non-violent means? Did you make a significant discovery or revelation? Did you perform an extraordinary action of some kind? Did you earn any money? You can only get 1 XP per question. Sometimes the answers are not clear-cut. Discuss within the group and try to reach a consensus. If you can't, the GM has final say. Write down the XP on your character sheet. Then it tells you how you can spend your XP. You can use your XP to improve your skills and talents, or to learn new ones. You can only spend XP between sessions, so that's quite important. There are some games that allow you to spend it as and when, but not many. So skills, if you want to increase a skill by 1 step, it costs 5 XP. Learning a new skill at level 1 costs 5 XP to do this. However, you must have either used the skill and succeeded without the skill during the session, or being instructed by a teacher for at least 1 shift. Talks about that later. Teacher must have at least skill level 1 in whatever it is they're teaching you. So it's no good asking someone to learn how to shoot a gun if they can't shoot it themselves, basically. Okay, and talents. Learning a talent always costs 5 XP. It also requires a day of practice and a successful wits roll. Roll for the attribute only. You can make 1 attempt per day. If instructed by a teacher who has the talent, your roll succeeds automatically. You've got to find someone that can do that though. Changing buddy and rival. At the end of a game session, you are free to change your buddy and rival PCs as you see fit. Then it goes on to what you can be, and then it talks about, like for instance, it talks about Colonial Marine first, their key attributes, their key skills, their career talents, typical names, personal agendas, appearance, signature items, and gear. Tells you what. So we go through a Colonial Marine, a Colonial Marshal, a company agent, a kid, remember aliens, a medic, an officer, and a pilot. Oh, and a scientist. Pilot, scientist, and a roughneck. Don't think I've missed anybody out here. And that's it. That's it for the characters. The next section we talk about skills, and we'll look at that in a little more detail. So thanks for joining me on this alien escapade. I'm loving the game so far. It is extremely interesting. Definitely feels like Alien, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do with this game. You'll notice it's pretty dark in here, so if you want to help me keep the lights on in this place, please check out my Patreon. There's a link on my YouTube homepage. There's also a PayPal link if you just want to make a one-off donation. It can be done there. And yeah, your help. Other than that, if you can like, share, subscribe. If you're not already subscribed, hit the bell button to get notifications of future uploads. And that'll help me. All those things will help me immensely. Thank you ever so much for joining me. And remember, all brushes lead to war. Stay safe, be well, be kind, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.